A blessed day to you, our beautiful viewers. It is the last day in the month of March. The first quarter of the year has actually got down, and I hope you've actually achieved what you have planned for the month, or for the months of January, February, March, or possibly for the year 2022. I am Aisha Dasham, and the program is from the Dailies. I am doing this alongside Tosin Owolabi. Tosin, good morning. How you doing? The first quarter has gone down. So what were your expectations, and were you able to meet any of them, hopefully?
Yeah, I was able to meet some, and I was still working towards meeting others, working towards perfection for the year 2022, and also the goals and aspiration for the year. We're still working towards meeting them. It's still work in progress.
That's very beautiful. Well, let's run down through the papers we have this morning, starting with Daily Trust newspaper.
Yes, on Daily Trust, FEC showcased 3.4 billion naira for infrastructure at Lekki Economic Zone. Kwankwaso emerges NNPP national leader. Loyalist dominates NEC. And Abuja bombing. Security force to lay siege. NRC ignores request to cancel night ride over security concern. Enough talk. End our endless mourning. Imams can tell Buhari. Abductors begin contact with family. The Monday night attack on a Kaduna-bound passenger train arriving from Abuja came after repeated warnings by the intelligence service about the movement of bandits with a mission to attack the trains and other facilities. The attack on the train, which had on board about 300 after 3 previous attempts on the service. At least 9 corpses were recovered from the scene of the attack on Tuesday, while over 20 others sustained injuries from gunshot and stampede. Many passengers were also abducted by the kidnappers. Senior security officials provided about the existence of many intelligence reports warning of a planned operation by the criminal groups, with one senior official describing the incident as totally avoidable. Aside from the failure of the security forces to halt the planned attack, authoritatively gathered about the Kaduna State Security Council and the leadership of the 1 Division Nigerian Army Headquarters, which separately requested the Nigerian Railway Corporation to suspend the late-hour shuttle between the two cities, an advisory that was, however, ignored. Another story on Daily Trust, foreigners taking over coastal trade in Nigeria, and this is from badge owners. How APC will retain power in 2023 from Senator Adamu, and 8 years after burial, 2 brothers exhumes dad's corpse for ritual in Kwara. 20 villagers fleeing from bandits drown in Niger River. The picture story, former Vice President Namadi Sambo, flanked by members of the just inaugurated Bayes University Hospital and management staff of Bayes University at the hospital's reception yesterday. And that's all the stories making rounds on the Daily Trust newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Voice of Liberty. Former APC caretaker chairman Buni hand over to Senator Adamu. Reps order probe into the $12 billion Trans-Sahara gas pipeline project. The train attack, we have incense violence attack, question our capacity, and this is coming from the Governor's Forum. Escalating Kaduna insecurity, morning now and everyday ordeal, and this is coming from Khan. And the big story here, Abuja Kaduna train attack chaos, matter of grave concern, this is coming from President Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari has described the attack on the Abuja Kaduna bound train as chaos and a matter of grave concern. Buhari was quoted as saying this in a statement by his senior special assistant media and publicity, Garba Shiu. I noticed I'd just like to, hold on a little here and let's tend to look at the attack. I know the attack actually took place from Monday, and reports have been dropping, I think, giving us figures of people who were injured, those who died, and also as of yesterday we're very certain of some unknown numbers of people that were missing. We're already having issues here that they're already demanding for ransom for some soul. I know of which there's a family of 6, 4 kids and the father and the mother that were part of those who were adopted as a result of that, and they're already, asking for ransom. They're beginning to keep contact with families of that. And I think just like the government is saying, they actually give an order to the railway not to ply the train at night. But I think we need to go beyond pushing blame to why didn't you do this? Why did you do this? What can we do next time to see that we avoid this? Because this is not the first time that train was being attacked or that railway was attacked. I know it was attacked last year around October, November. It was attacked on Monday, and while we're still trying to look into issues of this, on Tuesday again there was still another attack on the railway close to that. Now this will tell about how competent are the leaders we're having. We need to actually take responsibilities of things in this country, because it's even very sad, when you see people begin to ask, with all that have happened, we still go about our activities. There's things people are going about doing things as if nothing has actually happened. Yes, we're having the governors forum are coming out to say here that they have failed Nigerians, and this is something Nigerians have been waiting to hear for a very long time, that actually you need to take up the responsibility and say, yes, I know I have failed in my responsibility. What can I do better? It's not just about sitting down, because Nigerians are tired of hearing speeches and saying we are sorry. They just want to see you, acting up, be on your toe, do something better. You need to really sit down. We are tired of hearing that the president call all the service chiefs together. Let's have a meeting and see what can we do better. We need to see actions. We need to see them working on it. So I just hope that we do things better, not actually coming at every day say on behalf of the world of we are saying we are sorry. Sorry will bring back the lives of the people that have been lost. I just hope that these families that have been adopted or other individuals will be united with their families soon enough. Other stories still on the Voice of Liberty. Kaduna Airport train attack, group calls for resignation of service chiefs. Authorities' failure to protect people perpetuates impunity. This is coming from Amnesty International. And the last story here on 2023 general election. PDP alleges presidency, APC pressuring INEC to alter election dates. And that's all on the Voice of Liberty.
And moving to the Punch newspaper, Senate demands downward pay, TV tariff review, others hike probe, with details in page 23. And subsidiary summons NNPC has nothing to hide, Kyari tells lawmakers. Report of stepping down for Atiku mischievous. This is coming from Saraki, Tambuwal and Mohammed. NAFDAC gets World Health Organization certification, plans vaccine laboratory by June. And Senate threatens Akpabio, NDDC boss arrest over 2.2 billion naira contractor's fee. PFN CDHR lawyers differ on prison's beauty pageant. The big story is still on train attack. El-Rufai carpets military. ACF laments defend headquarters fails to deploy to Kano in northwest. Says bandits territory known to troops should be declared war zone. Nigerian Air Force to escort passenger train with jets, says Amechi. Reps film as service chiefs. Minister failed to appeal before panel. U.S. Embassy in Abuja begins interview waiver for visa renewal. Face masks now optional. COVID-19 restrictions go soon. This is coming from the federal government. An NDLEA bust 5-member airport drug syndicate, seized 19.8 million naira cash. Headers adamant southern governors fail to enforce anti-open grazing law. While from Niger State, 20 Niger residents fleeing bandits attack in overloaded boat drown. And the story here, about 20 people have drowned in the Gumi Zumba River while escaping attacks by bandits in Niger State. The victims, which included women, children from Gumi in Munyan local government, were said to have lost their lives on Wednesday morning. In a telephone interview with our correspondent on Wednesday, a resident of the community, Shehu Abubakar, the incident occurred when bandits simultaneously invaded the two communities, forcing the locals to flee. The victims were crossing to the other side of the river when their boat capsized. He said the boat was loaded beyond capacity, forcing it to capsize in the middle of the river. Bandits invaded our community this morning, and in an attempt to flee, some people drowned in the Guni Zumba River. Due to overloading, the boat capsized in the middle of the water. For now, we don't know the number of casualties because we have not been able to rescue anybody, but I can tell you that over 20 people, including women and children, were involved, and this is as a result from the failure from the military agencies, from the incessant attack in our communities. Just in Niger State, people trying to flee for their life, they were drowned in the river, and you can see that over 20 people, including women, men and children, were involved in this boats being capsized. But we just hope that I will have people that will go into those rivers to look out to get those people. We had something similar to this in Taraba State, and it was due to the overloading of the boats. I wish there are agencies that will be in charge of boats, how it's the number of people that it's carrying the boat, because it has the capacity of number of people to carry, and even luggages and loads that we to carry in this boat, to avoid issues of boats capsizing and with people going down with it when it capsized. So we just hope that the agencies that will go to this, look into this river and even bring out those people, but we still narrowing down to insecurity. If we have the military agencies that will be in all those communities to look out for the peace of those people, because you see that this bandit now go there even at night when people are asleep, and you disrupt the peace of those people, and even due to ways that people are trying to look out for ways they can be saved, you see that they run into another danger. And this is happening in even almost all the communities in our country. The security agencies should do something about it. The chief of staff should do something about it. We need military men, we need able-bodied men to look out for how peace can be restored to our country. If only the state policing can be guaranteed, for us to have our state police that will look out for this. Our vigilante officials also should look out for peace in communities, because the rate at which people are being killed now is really alarming. We need to do something about it. The nation is weeping over the death of people. We've not recovered from that of the Kaduna train attack, and now we're having this coming from Niger State and 20 people going down. Something needs to be done about issues of insecurity. We should face security issues, restore peace back in our country, then the nation will thrive and will look out for growth.
Yeah, and I think to just add a little to what you're saying, I think if really we are serious about bringing back sanity, if we are really serious about making sure that lives and properties are safe, then I think, just like we said, the military men or the task force can be everywhere. That is why we always employ them to get the communities involved in it, because these communities know the roots better. Empower them, let them have all the machineries they also need. Because if the vigilantes are just left with only their sticks or just little, because it's not every state that will be able to empower the state policing or be able to empower the vigilantes that said they will volunteer to help to check. They also need something to protect them. Yes, so just in case, before the security men will be able to get into those hidden hideouts, because one thing most Nigerians are certain about is that these terrorists are living within us. If you are to ask some of those villagers or some of these communities, they know who they are. But because they cannot see seriousness coming from the government, so how do you expect them to be able to cooperate? Because at the end of the day, they are the ones also dying. So I think the government needs to sit down together with this community and say, what can we do together to see that we're able to, because at the end of the day, this recruitment cannot be everywhere, but we are the first people to experience this. At the end of the day, we hear that there's an attack, and until 5 hours later, 8 hours later, the first recruitment will come. Already lives have already been destroyed, lots of will I say furniture, homes and all that are destroyed. So let's do what we can do to make sure that properties of people are safe, lives of people are safe at the end of the day. Let there be a synergy between the government and also the communities to make sure that things are working properly at the end of the day.
And the last story on the Punch says Kerry rejects prison food. Inmates excited by ex-IRT boss presence. And that's all the story on the Punch newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Leadership newspaper. Federal government acquires lie detectors, night vision goggles for NDLA. Detail of that can be found on page 6. U.S. reverse interview for non-immigrants visa. Other stories still on the Leadership. Senate asks DSTV, StarTimes and others to cut tariff. The Senate has asked DSTV, StarTimes, GoTV and other service providers to reduce the tariff they charge their Nigerian subscribers. Senate President Ahmed Lawan yesterday convened a 7-man ACOR committee to prop the tariff hike by paid TV service providers in the country. The Senate directed all paid TV service providers to immediately review their banquet price downward in terms with prevailing economic situation in Nigeria. And detail of that can also be found on page 7 of the Leadership newspaper. And on 2023, APC mounting pressure on INEC to shift election, PDP alleges. Detail also can be found on page 7. I have 12 months to deliver as APC chairman, and this is coming from Adamu. And the big story, Kaduna train attack. We have failed. Governors apologizes to victims. With the rider say attack questions their capacity to govern. Bandit contact families of kidnapped victims. Kill 9 security operatives in Niger. And the rest berate service chiefs over incense attack. 13 women, children drowned while fleeing from terrorists. And we also have on 2023, Odom Hayatuddin picks the PDP forms. And we have a Ramadan stakeholders caution Muslim preachers against provocative sermon. Detail of that can be found on page 12. We also have a picture story here right on the Leadership newspaper. Do well to get the paper and read detail of any story that is of interest to you.
And on the Nation newspaper, no room for failure, says APC chairman. Adamu assumes office. Bandits kill 23, abduct men in Kaduna village. Gunmen came in numbers. OAU student Adidoin, others have case to answer. And pupils dies, 15 injured in Ondo school bus fire. Details can be found in page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Nigeria, others to get $100 billion climate control cash. Udom Hayatuddin swell PDP presidential aspirant to 12. Osun governorship aspirant Ogunbi dumps PDP. Kwankwaso is NNPP leader. And the big story on train attack, terrorists contact hostage families. Sober mood at bank over MD's abduction. They use buses to take away victims, says survivor. And Amechi is saying we need 8 billion naira to replace 4 coaches. 2-kilometer rail track destroyed, and helicopter drones to shadow trains. Governor's violent attack threatens our capacity, while Casino Commissioner loses finger. While the governor of Kaduna State is saying we are at war. Family of 6 in hands of bandits, says Shehu Sani. Name same linkage ends today. UTME begins May 6 in 645 centers. Details can be found in page 3, and that's all on the Nation.
Okay, a look at the Blueprint newspaper, governors appeal $418 million Paris Club refund judgment. And Adamu opens up, I never knew I will be APC chair a month ago with the rider, we must buckle up, 2023 won't be easy for us. Party will ride on Buhari's integrity and legacy. And 70% successes recorded. The National Working Committee must sustain gain of the past. This is coming from Boni. And the Northern Group tackles Wike Autumn, insists North must produce presidents. Other story here, Modu Sharif, Ramotu Aliyu, Power Minister, Dambata, others with Blueprint's 100 most influential Northerners. And we have 20 teenagers speaking foreign language attacked us. This is coming from the Kaduna train survivor. Detail of that can be found on page 5. And we can also have a picture of some that are in the hospital. And also we can also see the president, the vice president during a meeting, a virtual meeting they are having. Other story still on the Blueprint newspaper, 360 million debt. Kogi won Glow Airtel against tax evasion. And the World Cup qualifier, FIFA, CAF dropping official, Kabugu died of cardiac arrest. Detail of that story can be found on page 31. Fidelity Bank to empower 4,000 students in 36 schools. Stop politicizing tax revenue generation, NAMI wants politicians. Detail can be found on page 23. And we have the number of poor Nigerians to hit 95.1 million in 2022. This is a statistics given by the World Bank, and that's all from the Blueprint newspaper.
Moving to Daily Independent, PDP alleges plot by presidency, APC to alter electoral act, extend sales of form, shift screening for primary election. UK issues travel advisory, lists 7 states with high-level threats. Kaduna Abuja train attack, we owe victims relations apology. This is coming from governors. Say frequent attack questions collective capacity to govern. North is under siege, Iowa Consultative Forum laments. World Health Organization certifies NAFDAC as maturity 3 regulatory agency. Reps uncover 300 billion naira unclaimed funds in banks. Details can be found in page 6. FEC okays 32 billion naira variation cost in works, trade, investment ministries. Approves 1.7 billion naira lie detector device for NDLEA. Senate taxpayer TV services provider on pay-per-view model. Population, location, fueling needs for national career. This is coming from the federal government. And 20 feared dead in Niger boat mishap. Details are in page 6 of the Daily Independent. That's all for the Daily Independent.
Okay, a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Federal government approves procurement of lie detectors, night vision goggles for NDLEA. On 2023 presidency, blackmail can't stop North from fielding candidates. This is coming from the Northern Coalition. And Efe Babalola column, the judicial must remain independent. You can take a look at the back page of the Nigerian Tribune and read detail of that. And we have the Nigerian-Ghana match, vandalized facilities at the MKAO Abiola's National Stadium. You can see a picture of what was done by some fans. And on Abuja Kaduna train attack, youth donate blood. Terrorists contact families. With the rider, how bureaucracy caused train attack. This is coming from Amechi. Attack questions our collective ability to govern. This is coming from the governors. And reps blast service chiefs over failure to honor invitation. Federal government must prosecute indicated 1,200 terror sponsors, suspects now. This is coming from Falana, and I think this is what we have all been saying. Whoever are behind the sponsors of all these things, they should be brought to book. not be done behind our backs, because this we already have it here. Blood, the land is bleeding presently. Not just we are weeping, we are bleeding, and we need something to be done. Governors have actually admitted that they have failed us. Then we are also expecting that our security agency will also admit that they have failed us to do what is expected, except we have snitches there that they need to be fished out. And I think we really need to do things the tough way if we really want to have good and quality answers at the end of the day. Other stories still on the Nigerian trio. We have OAU student murder trial. Court dismisses no case submission by Adedoye and others. Reps committee uncovers 300 billion naira unclaimed funds in banks. And river pollution. Osun declares war on illegal miners. FRS contributed 59 plus 45.45% of revenue shared by FAAC monthly in 2021. Olu of Warri visit Abiodun, predicts oil discovery in Ogun. Detail of that can be found on page 29. And Edo Assembly passes anti-open grazing bill. More of that story can be found on page 21 also of the Nigerian Tribune, and that's all from the Nigerian Tribune.
On New Telegraph, external reserves gain $31.68 million in 6 days. Surge linked to $1.25 billion raised via Eurobond. Oil rises as market braces for supply disruption. Reps uncover 99 billion naira in Citibank's account without BVN. On 2023, Okupe withdraws from presidential race, backs Obi. And still on 2023, will leverage Buhari's honor, integrity, legacy. This is coming from Adamu, says no more failure in APC. Kogi wants Glow Airtel against tax invasion. The big story on insecurity. Kaduna train attack questions our capacity to govern. This is coming from the governors. Apologize, says act of violence becoming too regular. Reps turn back service chiefs representatives. Senator Kalu condemns attack. 16 villagers drowned while fleeing from terrorists in Niger. Headers in military uniform kill 3 farmers in Benue. 19 CSOs tackle federal government on rising insecurity. Details can be found in page 3, 4, 5, 8 and 30 of the New Telegraph newspaper. FEC approves 29.3 billion naira for road contract augmentation maintenance. The rider 10.6 billion naira for lie detector night goggles for NDLEA. OK's 3.1 billion naira for Lekki NEPS power plant. River pollution. Osun government declares war on illegal miners. Still on 2023, PDP accuses APC of plot to alter electoral acts. Extend nomination form sale by a week. Aspirants in last-minute rush to beat deadlines. And I will not sabotage PDP if I lose primary. This is coming from Governor Nyesom Wike. The last story, which is a study, no risks of brain tumor for mobile phone users. That's all the story on the New Telegraph.
Thank you, Tosin. I would like to take we'll get into the world of business and we'll look at the national economy. And the first story here, Zenith, UBA, 3 others loan to customers rise by 2.1 trillion naira. And the big story here, NRC may lose 265 billion naira monthly over suspension of train services. Following the attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train on Monday, the Nigeria Railway Corporation may suffer over 8 million naira loss in revenue on a daily basis until the commencement of the train operation. The managing director, Felix Okare, said the Abuja-Kaduna route generated an average of 265 million naira monthly, Lagos-Ibadan 17 million naira monthly, while the Warri generate 45 million. He explained that the introduction of an additional diesel multiple unit, the corporation has increased the number of train trips between Abuja and Kaduna from 8 to 10 per day, just as the trip on that route had been increased from 4 to 6 for Wednesday. And we can actually see that as a result of the attack, we'll actually be losing a lot. We just hope that soon business will kickstart properly. And also detail of that story can be found on page 4 of the national economy. We also have other stories here. Stakeholders urges the federal government to activate red alert on aviation infrastructure. Detail of that can be found on page 5. Mobile money industry records $1 trillion in 2021. Detail of that can be found on page 5 of the national economy. That's all on the national economy. If you're interested in any of the story, just get the national economy and you can read detail of that. But before you go to your next story, Tosin, we'd like to take a time out where we can open our phone lines and also read your comments on our social media platform, especially Facebook. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, the program is from the Dailies, and we've been looking at stories that have been making the headlines from our Nigerian newspaper. I am Sarah Elisha Dasham, and I have been doing this alongside Tosin Owolabi. And right now we'll be opening our phone lines where you can call us and let us know what your views are or what you feel concerning any of the story that is of interest to you. And also you can drop your comment on our social media platform, especially our Facebook and YouTube, and we'll do well to read it. But before I go to your story, Tosin, and I think I have a comment on Facebook, and this is coming from Isa Zimbok, and he said, "Thank God for bringing us to the last day of March 2022. Actually, we're truly grateful for that. Well, so we can move to the next paper.
The Business Standard newspaper. Colombo port congestion comes as fresh supply chain woe. And PM Hasina for a resilient bay as BIM STEC aims to boost coup. When law enforcers break law only to hurt themselves. And we see issues with road accidents, the casualties from road accidents and reasons for road accidents and how road accidents can be averted. Police recklessness, behavior on road unacceptable. If we can have this even in our country to avoid all this recklessness on the road, have the eye check for the drivers, because we've been having series of accidents on our road ranging from the tanker driver, even the commercial buses and even private cars also. So we need to look out for ways we can avoid those road accidents on our road and make the drivers roadworthy and even make our road roadworthy. And this have to do with the Ministry of Transportation and also working hand in hand with the road safety to look out for safety on our road and coming from motorists and even individuals who plow such roads. And steps coming soon to address police attitude. This is also a good measure on how we can address police attitude to walk right, behave right, even on the highway. And not just the police, even the military also, those at the highway, those at the checkpoints, how they can walk right and even behave right, even at the checkpoint, to give the country, portray the nation, give the country a good face even in other countries, and portray good attitude coming from what they've learned while they enrolled at the services. And that is all on the Business Standard newspaper.
We're still on the world of business. Let's take a look at the Business Day newspaper, starting with the big story. Micro pension drags as customers' behavior remains unclear. From $4,000 to zero, banks cut dollar spend on Naira cards. Detail of that can be found on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper. Air travel businesses hit as flights to Kaduna halt. You can turn to page 2 to read more of that story. Mobile money Telcos lead as Nigeria and others proceed $490 billion. You can also read that on page 2. And idle NNPC refineries post 227 billion naira loss since shut down. MTN Nigeria profits jump to 445.5, revenue hit 1.65 trillion. And looking at how much we're losing on some of these idle refineries, I think we've said this time with our number here on the show, the importance of us reviving our refineries back. We're tired of always have to export our crude oil and then we still have to buy it back, and looking at the money we keep borrowing in able to pay subsidy so that the common man will be able to afford this fuel. I think with all that is happening, that adulterated fuel that we had the beginning of the year, this should serve as an eye-opener for the government and for us to know that we need to do something about our idle refineries that are lying, because we are losing quite a number of money going there. Imagine if we refine our oil here. It's something beautiful, because from the crude oil there are lots of things that have been extracted from that, and we get to have monopoly of how we do or how we tend to send the crude oil or whatever we choose to do with it, because it's in our own custody. But when we send it over there, we don't have an idea of what is being done. And I think that will even open job opportunities, because we saw the number of about 5 million Nigerians are actually very poor, and this is coming from the World Bank, so you can actually tell. So imagine when our refineries start working, Nigerians that will be employed there, and that will even tell on our GDP. We'll stop depending on other nations for almost everything. So I think this should be what the next administration that is coming, or whoever wants to rule Nigeria, should be thinking towards that. What can I do to make life better for citizens? And when we fix that insecurity, then I will not be scared that when we fix the refineries, we'll have hoodlums going there. No, but when things are proper, when people are working, they will not be idle, going around and causing confusion. So I just hope that we'll look in that direction.
Yes, with the challenges we'll be going through of recent, this should ginger us on how to revive our refineries, because if we revive it and we have the accessibility to our refineries, refine our crude oil and have it back in our country, to help us, and we'll not have issues of, because we now with the Russia-Ukraine war, we're having difficulties in refining our crude oil. But if we revive our refineries, refine our crude oils, have them in our country, it will boost our GDP, and even we will be off the red debt alert in which we are in our country, and needs to borrow money from other countries won't be there, because we will depend solely on our oil. We'll have it refined in our country, and we'll use it in our country, and we'll not have the issue of adulterated fuel coming into our country, damaging so many things. And now you can see, as a result of that, we are going through so many issues presently in our country. So this is another way we can look into this, revive our refineries in our country, then work on how we can refine our crude oil in our country and have them sent to even other countries. That will help us in boosting our GDP.
Yeah, and I think we have other natural resources too that we can get our attention to, not just depending on the crude oil alone, but we have other resources too that can actually help us to get out of the red alert. Well, that's all on the Business Day newspaper.
And on Vanguard newspaper, bandits kill 23 in Kaduna villages. Autumn furious over armed herders killing in Benue community. How I plucked my victim's eye to make charm. This is coming from a suspect. Pension fund investment in federal government bonds up 6.3% to 25.6 trillion naira. The big story, Kaduna train attack questions our capacity to govern. This is coming from the governors. Morning now and everyday ordeal. This is from Khan, and life near worthless under APC. Buhari says PDP. We must treat economic saboteurs with iron hands. Senators are saying this, and Buhari controversy rages over passengers manifest. News analysis, bandit threats to road, rail, air transportation in Kaduna. Saraki in Southeast says Nigeria needs president with stamina, not dependent on aids. 30 days ago, I didn't know I'll become APC national chair. This is from Adabu. And why Nigeria should reduce annual population growth. This is from NPC chair. US begins interview waiver program for certain visa renewal. Over 120 million mobile subscribers risk disconnection as NIN SIM integration ends today. Adego case murder. You have case to answer, court tells Adudoyin and 6 others. Reps ask NNPC to submit status detail of $12 billion natural gas pipeline project. Federal government approved lie detector night vision goggles for NDLEA. And that's all on the Vanguard newspaper.
Yeah, thank you, Tosin. Before I go, the story that have been on all our papers, the federal government approving the lie detector. Actually, hope we know how to use it properly, not just to ask for all these things that will make work better, and then at the end of the day, we don't see them making good use of it. Whatever you say you need to make sure that we'll be able to, deal with criminals properly as they are supposed to be dealt with. I just hope that we'll do the right thing, not just to ask for a certain amount of, because I know even the Minister of Transport actually said an amount that they needed to fix the railway to be able to avoid unforeseen circumstances just like the one we had with Kaduna. Well, we just hope that you won't just ask for money and when the money is being given, it's not being used for the thing that it says is being used for, but that there'll be an auditing to follow up on that at the end of the day.
And for the lie detector goggle, obviously they will be trained on how to use it, because you can't just give them what they don't know how to use, and how it can be of help and even make work faster for them. So there will be a training session on how this NDA officials can use this lie detector goggle to detect criminals and even detect those who are smuggling different drugs. So this will be good even in the different stations, even at the airports, the train stations. It should be used, and even at borders also, because we see people smuggling drugs just in the name of making quick money. And we applaud the efforts of NDLEA in intercepting all those people. So I see that this goggle will also help them and even make the work faster for them. This will be good, and we just hope that they will use it the right way that it's given to them.
Thank you so much, Tosin. Well, to our sport lovers, let's take a look at the Sporting Life paper. And we have, I was luckier to beat Salah again. This is coming still on the Sporting Life, and detail of that can be found on page 4. Man United to include Marita in deal to sign Kane. And we have Alaba pushing for Real Madrid to sign Libre. Adidas unveiled the World Cup artery, and he claims to be the fastest and the most accurate in history. Well, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed to watch the World Cup. And other stories here: Man U versus Leicester. Buba Vedra set to be available. Other stories here: we have Ndidi disappointed. NFF apologizes to government and Nigerians over the Super Eagles' failure to qualify for the World Cup. And we're having Oshimen Adidi make top 20 stars to Miss Carter 2022. We're actually very happy, even though we didn't make it for the World Cup, But at least we have our very own here that have been making us proud, even while he's playing for Napoli. Because that's his club that he plays there. But I'm excited because even on that day, you could actually see the zeal. He was willing to actually score more goals for Nigeria. So you could actually see that he's willing to do something. And we're proud looking at the fact that he has made the top 20 stars to Miss Carter 2022. Other stories here: we have Salah hit at Egypt retirement after World Cup heartbreak. We have a very quite interesting story on the Sporting Life. So to our sport lovers, do well to get the Sporting Life newspaper, and you can read detail of any of this captivating sport news on the paper. Well, I think that's all we can go on the program from the Dailies. But before I wrap up, to say any word of encouragement to our viewers.
Yes, work more on being righteous than perfect.
Thank you so much, Tosin. And just like I said, it's the end of the first quarter as we emerge into yet another beautiful moon. Do well to set your priorities right and be safe. Have a blessed day ahead.